Hey guys, so today I'm reviewing this EcoFlow River 2 portable power station. Let's put it over here. So this is a 256 watt hour lithium phosphate battery with a 300 watt inverter with a peak of 600 watts. So that puts out 240 volts for the Australian standard. It also has three USB sockets. It's got two Type A and one Type C. And the Type C can go up to 60 watts, so that's pretty good. It has Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connectivity. So you connect it to your network or you connect directly with the Bluetooth. It's a very light little unit, it's only 3.5 kilos. So it's very portable and light, which is good. So firstly I want to talk about the cells inside this, the battery cells they use. So the lithium phosphate as mentioned earlier. So the good thing about lithium phosphate is it has a very long lifespan. So you can cycle them up and down like 2.5 to 3,000 times. That means like fully charging it up, cycle it down to pretty much empty, 2.5 to 3,000 times and still get 80% of the capacity. So that means you can use this thing every single day for years on end, and you still have a good capacity over time. It's not like some of the cheaper batteries like the old AGMs and stuff like that, where you only get like 300 to 500 cycles and they lose a lot of the capacity. Yeah, so they're very good cells. They're also very safe cells, like it's very unlikely to have thermal runaway or catch on fire and stuff. They're one of the safest lithium chemistries. So this unit can be charged in multiple ways, and it charges quite quickly. If you plug it into an AC wall socket at 240 volts, so it charges in under an hour. So it charges about 300 watts. You can also charge it at 100 watts from a car cigarette lighter socket, and you can also use a solar panel up to 110 watts. This unit can also be charged with USB Type-C, so the USB Type-C pocket is both ways, so it can put out power and also charge this unit up to 60 watts. That's very handy. So I also tested the sound level of this while I was charging, because the fans do kick on, and when you plug in an AC wall socket, I measured it from 10 centimeters away and it was about 60 decibels. So it is kind of loud when you're charging it. You're probably wondering like what sort of devices you can run with this unit and how long it'll last running those things. So the first test I did is I plugged in a portable little 12 volt fridge to see how long it would run. So what I did first is I let that fridge cool right down from an actual wall socket to 4 degrees Celsius before I plugged into this unit. And I plugged into this unit at about 2:30 in the afternoon. Actually it was 2:50 in the afternoon. I let that run overnight. I checked it again at 6:30 in the morning and still had 10% left. But then I went away and came back at 7:30 and turned off. So I'm guessing it would have been off. So obviously it turned off between 6:30 and 7:30. So it's about 16 hours I got. So not bad really. So I can definitely quite easily run a little 12 volt compressor fridge overnight. If you had it in freezer mode, it'd be a different story because that'll use more power. I haven't tested that yet, but I'll do more testing that in the future. So I'm also going to test later on in other videos a solar panel plug into this and see if it can run the fridge for multiple days. So I also tested the capacity of this unit using the AC inverter and see how much actual usable capacity you got out of it. So to do this I plugged in a wattage meter from the AC outlet here. So I plugged in a 300 watt heat gun, let that run from 100% down to 0, and I managed to pull 191 watt hours. So this equals 74% of the full capacity of the battery. That's kind of normal for these sort of units to have less actual energy capacity out of the inverter because the actual inverter uses power to convert the power. So like you might lose 10 to 15, even 20% of the power just converting it to 240 volt. And also the inverter themselves have an idle current draw. So I worked out the idle current draw of this unit is about 10 to 11 watts. And how I worked that out was I just turned it on when it had full capacity and then turned this little inverter on, just let it sit there and run with nothing plugged into it. And it works out it loses about 4.5% per hour. So if you just leave it on, it'll probably go flat after about 24-25 hours. But the idea is though, when you're not using the inverter, you just switch it off. So there's a little button here, turn on and off. That way you don't just drain the power unnecessarily. It's called like a vampiric load. But you can also, in the app, I'll show you later, but you can change how long this automatically turns off the inverter. So another thing I managed to run on this unit was a 1000 watt Nutra Ninja blender. So even though they say 1000 watts, they don't actually draw 1000 watts all the time. Just means they can draw up to 1000 watts. The motor in it can handle up to 1000 watts. But it depends what you're blending. Like if you're blending something really thick and hard, it'll probably spike up to like 600 watts and then drop down. So actually surprisingly, this unit actually managed to run a full blend cycle. I was pretty impressed with that really, considering it's only 300 watt with 600 watt peak. So well, I did notice that the blender didn't run quite as fast as it would if it was in a full 10 amp 240 volt socket. But it still did the job, so pretty happy with that. So as I mentioned earlier, it has Bluetooth and Wi-Fi connectivity. So I'll just give you a run through the app here so you can see kind of all the features on it. Right, so when you first open the app, obviously you've got to connect to the unit. I've already connected to it, so I'll just show you You can see here it's got EcoFlow River 2, it shows a percentage before you even click on it, but if you have multiple different EcoFlow devices, they'll pop up in there. So you click there, go into it, and you can see here has available time left. So that'll change obviously depending on what you're running, the loads and stuff. At the top there. And here you can see we got the input, at the moment 0 watts, and the output, so you can see how much power is going in and out of the unit, which is pretty handy. And separately, like so you can see down here, AC, USB-C and solar, so you can see individually how much power is going out of those different things, which is good. So come across here to the right, and you can turn the AC on and off. So if I click AC on, you see over here in the unit, a little light comes on. That's another handy thing, you can turn that on and off in here. So I guess that'd be kind of useful if you guess your unit's not, beside you, like you had it outside somewhere running something or whatever, you're further away from it. Go up the top of the app, here you see on the right hand side, it's called the settings button, so you click on that and you can rename the unit. Device sharing, so I think you can actually share that with someone else through that. I haven't done that yet, but you can change the AC charging speed, so that's pretty handy because say if you're trying to charge this off a smaller inverter that couldn't handle, like it only had low wattage, you can drop this down to say 200 watts or whatever you need to do. Also the car input, so you can change how much amps it draws from the DC input, which is also handy in case you only have a small DC output capacity and you're running something else, etc. You can drop that down. And DC mode auto, so you can choose between solar and charging and car charging. I just leave it on auto because it works itself out then. Over here there's different settings on the discharge level and stuff, so you can set it to only charge to like say 80%, so stop charging at that point. Also you can set it to stop discharging at a higher percentage as well in here, which is good I guess if you needed to reserve the capacity for whatever reason. Then you got the timeout control, so you come down here, you can choose to time out after 1 hour or 2 hours, and it just means that it will turn off by itself, there's nothing running. Also a screen timeout, you can change how long the screen stays on here before it turns off automatically. AC timeout, so that's like the inverter here, so that means you can choose how long before the inverter just turns itself off if there's nothing running, which is good because if you want to save power, so you probably even want to have that set on 30 minutes, it might be a good idea in case you forget to turn it off. And then we got firmware update down here, so you can click on that and update your firmware. Mine's already up to date, but when you first get the unit and turn it on and connect, you might have to update it up a couple of times. And I've clicked on this specification, it doesn't really seem to do much, I'm not really sure what that item does. And down the bottom here you can change between degrees Celsius and Fahrenheit. So I've just got the degrees Celsius. And that's pretty much it. So pretty good little easy to use app and has everything you need on it. So yeah, as a conclusion, I'd say this is a pretty awesome little device. I really like it actually. Like it's really high quality and stuff, and everything just works well. Does everything all in one. It's got like AC charging, solar, USB, 12 volt, like all in the one little unit, which is pretty good. And it's got the really good lithium phosphate cells. So this is how I use it in the tent. Basically you can plug our phones here, sit them on top for charge, and I run this little fan on the 12 volt socket here, so you can just turn the unit on, actually turn on your DC out, and then there you go, run a little fan. So the oscillating fan keeps us pretty cool in hot nights, So I think this would suit someone, once do those quick little weekend getaways and needs to keep all their phones and laptops and stuff charged, but also has the ability to run 12 volt fridge and stuff like that too, so very, very versatile. So if you're planning to do extended trips and wanted to run multiple devices, so charge your phone, laptops, everything, as well as run a compressor fridge, I'd recommend one of the bigger EcoFlow units would be better, as they have a lot more capacity and a lot more power output capability. So on the EcoFlow website, you can click on each of these devices and scroll down, and it'll give you an example of different appliances and how long each unit can run them for. That's pretty handy if you sort of want to get an idea of what unit will suit you. So if you're interested in one of these devices, I've got a link in the description below. So if you're interested in getting one of these, click that link and it'll take you to the website and you can have a look around the different devices they have. So obviously there's a lot of different power stations on the market. There's some cheaper ones, etc. These aren't the cheapest, but I reckon they're one of the best on the market because they're so feature packed, have everything they need to do, and they're high quality, good warranty. Definitely recommend these. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe if you want to check out more videos in the future. I'm going to do more testing on this, as I said earlier, with a solar panel and see if it can run a fridge for extended periods, stuff like that. So thanks for watching. Catch you on the next one.